वैराग्य विद्या निज भक्ति योगा शिक्षार्थमेक पुरुष पुराना श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य शरीरधारी कृपा बुद्धिर्य तमहं प्रपद्ये मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारणम् वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदम। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. So we continue our study of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam for the ultimate benefit, ultimate attainment of the human form of life, aiming for the ultimate perfection of the human form of life, to give us the Pancham Purushat, which is pure love of Godhead. No other ulterior motive in Srimad Bhagavatam. No other ulterior agenda, no other any self-driven agenda in Srimad Bhagavatam. But fascinately, look at the episode what we are going through in Srimad Bhagavatam. This King Chitraketu's lamentation, King Chitraketu meets the Lord. Let me know, is there any other pastime in Srimad Bhagavatam which we find a bit so political? Srimad Bhagavatam completely non-political. Completely non-political, but this pastime is so much politically webbed or interlinked or connected. Srimad Bhagavatam has got nothing to do with politics. King Parikshit left politics, quit politics, and he wanted to study Srimad Bhagavatam. He was listening Srimad Bhagavatam. Then we see, like in third canto, predominantly Jai Vijay pastime, Lord Kapila Dev's pastime, fourth canto Dhruva Maharaj and Prajapati Daksha and Lord Shiva. There's some arguments going on there, some cursing going on there. Then fifth canto Jar Bharat and Bharat Maharaj and other pastimes. Seventh canto Prahlad Maharaj, eighth canto Gajendra Moksha, ninth canto Ambarish Maharaj, so on and on. But maybe I find this very political pastime in here. King, queen, and 10 million co-wives and others around, and the child now poisoning the child. So very political pastime going on in here, but with a complete non-political agenda. As in, see, EastEnders, Coronation Street, and some other this series like TV series like them. They've got the script, and people, of course, watch it, tune into it, and they find good nectar juice out of it, isn't it? And some nice gossip, some nice messages, some nice maybe some learning as well. But there's not a purification of the heart. There's not a change of heart at all going through them, and it doesn't give anyone a relief as well. That relief is so temporary, so temporary. So going into after a hard days at work or study, then going into some what to do, conditioned soul needs some sort of sense gratification, so goes into tuning into maybe Coronation Street, EastEnders or YouTube and all. But very temporary, very temporary relief. And in here, Srimad Bhagavatam, if one gives a good oral reception to Srimad Bhagavatam, can find so much of nourishment. So much of nourishment. So- And this is the reality, it's undeniable. It's a harsh, sad reality how children are being brought up in this world, how they are looked after. And so much so that we have had to come up publicly campaigning Black Lives Matter. I mean, life in general matter, be it black, brown, white, or yellow or green. Life in generally matters, and what is our understanding of life? And it is so uh, again politically moving around everywhere, isn't it? Somewhere definition or understanding of life is a certain definition, a certain understanding, and if it fits by that definition, then yes, we support for it. So very much like propagating maybe Black Lives Matter, but then killing child in the womb, doesn't that matter? And we very much know how the society is by and large structured, the academics by and large structured. Unless the child comes out of the womb, it is just a combination of bones, tissue, and marrow and flesh, and this no identity, nothing, no. Once it comes out of the womb, then yeah, we pre-decided perhaps the name of the child and do. But once in the womb, okay, the tissue has developed, or but this is not how Srimad Bhagavatam says. No, life comes from life. Life doesn't come from matter. And what is the definition of life? Life means eternal. Uh, Life means loving relationship. Life means being in a eternal bond with Krishna. So little bit seeing on this pastime. So like very nicely shaping up. So King Chitraketu, he desired just one son. He was feeling very bereft and incomplete without having a son. And there were talks also in the kingdom behind his back that the king, our poor king, he has got 10 million wives, but no son, no child, no children. So he desired, he was hankering, passionately hankering to have a child. So he consulted sages, and the sages realized, discovered that he's not in a position to take transcendental message. So fine, blessed him. Fine, you will get bear a child, you will have a son, but the very son will be the cause of your jubilation and lamentation. And when the king was so much in his dream, okay, fine, what lamentation? Possibly being the only child of a king, he will be a bit spoiled. Fine, I will manage, handle a spoiled child, as Prabhupada says, right? Uh, no uncle is better than a blind uncle. It's better than having no son is better than a bit of a spoiled son. So I will go with a spoiled son. So fetch many learnings and teachings from each pastime. One is what? Material attachment blinds one. Material attachment. The king was so materially attached in his desires, material attachments, they cover our consciousness altogether heavily. I don't know in Western world, but in India, now I don't know, at some point time in India, what there was a phrase, something love is blind, or blind love, or love is blind. So, yeah, material love is definitely blind. It covers one's consciousness. It very much binds a person. Rather than love means bringing joy, rather than giving that full joy to the person, it covers one's consciousness. But unlike spiritual love, which is very uplifting, very nourishing. So, the king in here, material desire and attachment, covered up, haunted by it, became blinded, couldn't see the future, what is coming through. So the king went on with the desire and had a son, and then son became the center of attention. So became so much the center of attention that the other queens were neglected. The other queens were feeling very neglect, and see how the kingdom, the pastime, how it would have been shaping. First no son, then gradually after a point in time, good news, okay, son has arrived. Then again some tussle in the kingdom with this child now, and further eventually leading to where? The death of the child. So that is material life. Material life is a seesaw, is exactly like a seesaw of happiness and distress, up and down, up and down, up and down, all together, never stable, never, nothing is like stable or prominent. And spirituality, real Krishna consciousness begins when I'm first stable or fixed in my consciousness. that no matter what comes, I am firmly grounded. Then only I can practice Krishna consciousness in the proper sense. So, a question like, what is more astonishing? What is more shocking? Someone coming into practicing Krishna consciousness, say within 25 days of preaching, someone coming into taking the practice of Krishna consciousness is more shocking, more astonishing, or someone quitting the practice of Krishna consciousness after practicing for 25 years. What is more astonishing or shocking? Someone coming into the practice of Krishna consciousness just within 2 weeks and taking very nicely, or someone leaving Krishna consciousness, saying, I'm done with Krishna consciousness, after practicing for 25 years, 30 years. Yes, bro.
You'd expect that the longer a person practices, then the more secure they were on the path.
Any
so that's
other?
more that would be more surprising than somebody. You would expect people to change very quickly when they come in contact with practicing Krishna consciousness, because there's so many potent things that Prabhupada has given us.
Any other thoughts? Yes, Panchatattva, bro.
We can't expect anything Krishna consciousness. If there's no precedent, everything's Krishna's in control. So anything you expect gets blown out of the water.
In relation to this, so actually this may also be so. The queens that had poisoned the child, they were very exuberant to begin with. They were very happy that they'd done that. But later on, because of the instructions of Angira, then they decided to give up their agenda, which was to have a child. See, so because they were still pursuing that, and they'd bumped that child off, then they were happy. So maybe that is the problem, that somebody may take up Krishna consciousness, but if they don't give up their agenda, then in due course of time, I mean, if they receive instructions, then they can move on. And in this case, they atoned. But if they hadn't, then they would have still been happy, looking forward to maybe being able to give birth to a child. So in the same way, you may take up Krishna consciousness, but you may still have these dormant desires for being happy in the material world. And unless you give them up, then you won't be able to really atone and move forward.
Yeah. Another question, but this is something for contemplation and to be, of course, I will take your wisdom, but perhaps another day. What is the difference between, say, desire, expectation, and hope? What is the difference between desire, expectation, and hope? Something for contemplation, perhaps. And another day, maybe I will surely would like to listen more from you on this. Now, in this instance, in this pastime, the queens desiring, expecting, hope. And this is like not to, definitely not to have any stab at the queens, co-wives or anyone. This is for my personal education, for my personal shaping up of my personal Sri Krishna consciousness. In 11th canto, I believe chapter 8, the story of Pingala. Such a fascinating story, such a fascinating learning and education. Nirashyam paramam sukham. Ashyam paramam dukham. So, material expectation hurts. People say expectation hurts, right? It is material expectation hurts. Panchatattva Prabhu raised very nice points, but maybe we might be a bit short of time, or we'll see how it goes. We might try to a bit discuss or check a bit more on that. Coming again to the past times, so yeah, very nice point. Dakshaja Prabhu also saying, right, that these co-wives, they definitely had their plan, they definitely had their agenda. We also want a child, we don't want this. But when it was not fructifying, when it was not coming through, then gave up altogether. Okay, fine. Um, we committed this thing, and it's not turning the way we wanted it to shape up. Let's leave and go to the river and atone. uh, in Hindi they say, "सौ चुईया खा के बिल्ली हज को चली." So as in like someone committed lots of crimes, lots of sins, lots of crimes, lots of dodgy things, and then is going to temple or church and becoming saintly. There's nothing wrong in that. There's nothing wrong in that. At least the great thing given to the person, the consolation is he's trying to reform, he's trying to improve. He's trying to make a step ahead. Like many times in Western world also and in India as well, like, oh, them Hare Krishnas. What is the point of your chanting Hare Krishna? You are continuing still with, you are still not following the regulations, or you are still continuing with your lust, anger, greed. Another question: who is better? Someone who is who is not following the four regulations and who is very much at a gross level lust, anger, greedy person, and chanting one round a day, one doing one round, one japa of Hare Krishna Mahamantra a day. And another person who is breaking all these say four regulatives, but is Shishikhoranita Mayapur Sashiki, but is breaking to a lesser extent externally in gross sense, much lesser extent, and is still not much lesser, or externally speaking, lesser greedy, lesser lusty, lesser angry. Who is better? Someone who is doing, yes, bro?
Says that if you if you deride a devotee who's still trying to do the right thing, then you're in a worse situation, even though you may be following very, very strictly, and you may not have made the mistake that that devotee has made. But because you derided him, then you put yourself in a situation which is more awkward than the person who's breaking the principles and making the mistakes.
Human life is a life of indeed great responsibility, great responsibility. I'm so much in ignorance. I just hear in theory, but it doesn't pinch me. It doesn't really, if the law of karma and desires is revealed to me, I cannot live. I will be under so much of depression if Lord Brahma shows me my karmic account. Imagine like if Talk or EE or Orange or this telecom company, they show me, okay, look, you have this much bill pending in your name. Or council tells me, look, you have this much bills to pay in your rate. Wow, I will go crazy. Like, how come? So if Brahma comes up, let's have a short just for last life. This is your karmic quota. Cannot just live. So human life is a life of indeed great responsibility. And on top of that, devotee life. There's a gulf of difference between human life and a devotee life. Even higher responsibility. On top of that, someone acting as a mentor, someone acting as a counselor, someone acting as a life coach, someone acting as in a senior position, someone acting as a temple commander, president, treasurer, leader, even higher responsibility, big responsibility. So someone, um, it should never be seen as a privilege that, oh, I'm now that, say, the temple president, or I'm now this bhakta leader, I'm this. It's never a privilege. It should be all taken as a very down to earth, humble service for pure purification. Should never be seen as a privilege. Oh, now I'm getting to sit in the Vyasasan and garlanded and Haribol and giving class. Oh, wow, yes. Oh, I'm very No, it should all be taken as a pure humble service at the lotus feet of Shishi Khorantai Mayapur Sashi. So again, a very egoistic pastime. Very egoistic. Now, a bit on a lighter note, please take it a bit on a lighter note only. Uniting 10 million co-wives, big thing, big thing. Uniting 10 million co-wives. I will restrict myself. Uniting 10 million co-wives, big thing. But this is the power of materialistic desire or this egoistic desire. Enemy of my enemy becomes my friend. Eh? So in here again, material desires blind someone's. But one thing is, when you praise someone, praise in public. And when you blame someone, blame in private. When you praise someone, praise in public. Yeah. When you blame someone, blame in private. These are all teachings for personally for me to imbibe in life. Another thing, like coming back to that, someone practicing Krishna consciousness within 2 weeks, if one takes Krishna consciousness, is that very shocking? Or someone quits Krishna consciousness after 40 years of practice? Say? This has to be seen personally. Someone who is practicing Krishna consciousness is anyways a senior to me, and it's very encouraging. Someone coming into Krishna consciousness in 2 weeks or after 2 years, very encouraging. And someone quits also Krishna consciousness. The other person, the Prabhu, say quits practicing Krishna consciousness after 20 years. Still, I should say very commendable. He continued for 20 years. He continued for 20 years. Wow, what a great valor. But for personally, for myself, it should be a daily shock for me that, wow, I'm still practicing Krishna consciousness. I'm still being in the community of devotees. Wow. So for myself, it should be a great shock. What is the shock if I quit Krishna consciousness? I'm such a rascal conditioned soul. What can be expected? And also, Devi esa gunamai mam maya duratyaya mam eva ye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. Krishna's material energy is so powerful. What is the big deal if I quit Krishna consciousness? Easily get swept away. What's the big deal? Big deal is becoming a devotee. Wow. Big deal is, wow, becoming a devotee or desiring or aspiring to become a devotee. That is the biggest deal. So in here, when you praise someone, praise in public. And when you blame someone, blame in private. Likewise, you know, what is the difference between sorry and apology? Is there a difference between sorry and apology? Yes, babe, you say. Sorry, I don't know if I should say sorry or apologize. English is not my third language actually, so I don't know much. What's the difference between sorry and apology? Is there any difference? Yes, bro.
I mean, I'm not so sure, but perhaps apology is slightly more formal. You can formally apologize to someone, but the act of saying sorry, personally speaking, if I'm saying the word sorry rather than saying I apologize, there's more feeling in it. It's less formal, more intimate. It's just a personal thing.
There's a book about it's by a devotee about psychology, and he talks about apology. He says there's 5 A's of apology, so it's a more because and the fourth one is where we say we're sorry. But there's 3 before that. One is giving an account of why you did it, accepting responsibility. So the person can just come up to you and say, "Oh, really sorry." And it's cheap because better if he says, "Well, actually, this is why I did it. I appreciate now that it was wrong." And then he would itemize all the things. You know, he may say it came out in a distorted way, but that would be a way of kind of covering from actually saying, well, I did this, I did that, I appreciate that was wrong. And now in the future, which is the fifth day, I'm now going to make amends. And so there's a whole systematic strategy there. But just saying you're sorry, what that means really is that the person then should just forgive you and then allow you to do the same thing again. So it's actually quite a nasty thing to just say you're sorry because it's too cheap. It's actually disrespectful to the person that you're sorry. You're saying you're sorry to because you're thinking, well, I've done it now, done my bit, so just leave me alone. I just want to get on with my life.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry is like, okay, I'm sorry. And generally, again, this is the mood I feel. Sorry is like, okay, I made a mistake and now you forgive me. You should forgive me. I've done my part. I said sorry to you, isn't it? And now you do your duty. Now you are not doing your duty properly. Now you say sorry to me because you are not forgiving me. And it depends on the mistake as well. If it's a small mistake, oh, I'm sorry. If it's any big, oh, I apologize. But there's a huge difference between sorry and apology. Be it sorry, be it apology, it should actually come from the heart. One should feel it that somewhere I have erred, somewhere I've made a mistake. And one should feel from the heart. One should pinch for it. One should be feeling the pinch of it. One should want to reform. And like Raghunath Prabhu arranged this course in Karuna Bhavan last year around Janmashtami time, Radhashtami time, philosophy, culture, and etiquette. Very nice 9 session or more than 9 session perhaps course, or 9 session in each. Philosophy 9 sessions, etiquette 9 sessions, culture 9 sessions. Raghunath Prabhu and his grace Karuna Chandra Prabhu organized this. Karuna Chandra Prabhu were giving very nice classes. Pip, did you attend the course, right? You and the culture and etiquette as well, did you attend? Everything. Yeah, so very nice. 9 sessions on philosophy, culture, and etiquette. Now, here in this pastime and every other pastime, we see the culture and the etiquette bit. Now, someone could be philosophically very, say, intellectual or understanding the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. Oh, yeah, I know the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. You are not this body, you are a spirit soul, and Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Love and serve Krishna, chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and things around. But the culture and the etiquette part, if that is missing. Now, someone could be very much culturally entwined with Krishna consciousness. Yeah, culturally, I see. Oh, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, I understand, Baba. What else are you going to tell me? I come from India. Bhagavad Gita, I know everything. What? Tell me something new. I know everything. Tell me something new. What's going on in the world of tech? Tell me that. Nah. But Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, I know everything. So culturally, one may associate more with Krishna consciousness, but philosophically may not be knowing it. And for us practicing sadhakas, we should be knowing culture, philosophy, etiquette, everything. And in here, we see what? The queens, the co-wives. Again, this is the power of material desire, so strong that even if philosophy is known, the culture is known, etiquette is known, when it strikes, when someone is struck by lust, when someone is struck by anger, when someone is struck by fear, very difficult to resist. And so much so they went ahead that uh, they polluted all culture, they polluted all etiquette. Hmm, everything got polluted. So for a conditioned soul, another say learning for a conditioned soul, for myself, see, we get this trigger, right? We get this trigger, and one trigger comes, what? Okay, now I must do something. Okay, now I have to take an action. Now I must do something. So conditioned soul, he shouldn't be really triggered. He should calm himself down and not take things in hand, not take matters in his hand. And the co-wives here took the matters in their hand. They couldn't resist to calm down. Yes, Adokshila Prabhu.
An observation is they. It says in the translation that they were ashamed, and they remembered the instructions of Angira, and then they followed the directions of the Brahmins. So it wasn't that they followed the directions of Angira, although he'd given instructions. So that would indicate that they'd made it publicly known. And to make it publicly known, the king would have found out, and therefore at the risk of their lives, because it's quite possible the king could have said, okay, you did this, I'm going to have you killed now, So they were. So it's interesting, and I just wanted to make a comment on that. That when you, is it important, therefore, that you have to openly admit your mistake in front of an assembly, at least of Brahmins, in order for the rectification to really take place?
It's a great, what is a manly thing? A manly thing is to apologize. A masculine or manly thing is to genuinely apologize and to feel for it. And again, in devotional culture etiquette, there's no room for like this confrontational. Being confrontational is not the quality of a Vaishnava. Even if one has not committed a mistake, one should say sorry, one should apologize, one should say. As the other day we were discussing, right? My father, one of the best teachings, learnings I got from him since childhood, and I pray that I can have it with me. So, my dad, he used to say, like, coming in the evening, night time from his shop, sometimes if I had been naughty, then my mother would tell my father that he has been naughty and he's not listening. And me, what I would do in my trick, I would try to go to bed early and pretend that, okay, I've fallen asleep and I have school next day now. And so my dad would next day, or whenever he got the chance, he would kind of tell me that, look, just follow what your mom says. Just follow what your mother says. Do not argue. Hmm? Now I realize even my dad struggled to argue, so maybe he was teaching me that even I'm not able to win this argument. You think you can win it from your mother? Just follow Baba. I'm also, anyways. So yeah, but then even doesn't, because I was giving my logic. No, but this mother is saying this. This doesn't make sense. It is not correct. But the father said, like, no, just follow. When you grow up, you will get to know. And even if it is right or not right, that is beyond a thing. Everything practicing Krishna consciousness, I should not be seeing as right or wrong. It's beyond right and wrong. Some things on the surface may look right or wrong. Like my mother, something on the surface might told me something to do which was, say, wrong, or was not. But I shouldn't be really arguing. I should still, we should honor the relationship more than right and wrong. Yeah. Respect the relationship more than right and wrong. Husband and wife relationship, many quarrels happen. But one should try to honor the relationship, respect the relationship beyond right and wrong. Otherwise, Trinadapi Sunichena is just lips only, on the lips only. So, valor or bravery is to recognize that I committed a mistake, acknowledging it, feeling the pain for it, then the reaction, the karmic reaction is very much reduced. If someone really repents, remorse, atones for it, then there is no, he has gone through the purification. That is the purpose for purification. But if not, if still harboring, keeping one's opinion close to one's chest and going along with it, then there's going to be reactions coming along the way. And by the way, if you have not noticed so far, then we have opened it for questions and answers. So yeah, if you were saying something.
Yeah. Sometimes we can use our intelligence to understand that this thing that I'm holding on to is not helping. It's frustrating me and it's causing more difficulties. But actually, on a practical level, we can't dispel it. Like it's 2:10, isn't it? I can no longer find the means to drive away this grief, which is drying up my senses. So we can understand on an intellectual level that this isn't going to help me by holding on to this, but how to actually get rid.
Very practical question. We need a role model in front of ourselves. We need an inspiration in front of ourselves. Few things we can do is calm down ourselves, take a step back, take a pause. Here the queens could have done so many things. And again, it's not the queens or the co-wives are at fault or the king is at fault. It's more the ego coming in between. Politics mean what? Ego only. Huh? It's that ego coming in between. Otherwise, if they see each other, the first thing in Krishna consciousness, the sooner if I see myself as a constituent of Krishna, as a constituent of Srimati Radharani, say, uh, as a constituent that I belong to Krishna. Who am I? I'm a property of Guru and Gaurang. Then I'm made for their service, I'm made for their joy. And accordingly, if I see others, that is seeing everyone as Krishna May, then I will never exploit anyone. I will never exploit. I have my right hand and I have my left hand, right? Do I ever exploit the left hand, say? No, I never unfairly treat the left hand or the right hand, because I know that both the hands belong to the body, and both the hands are serving the body. Both the hands are for that common purpose. Likewise, my brother and my sister, I wouldn't be any holding any grudges towards any of them, because firstly, if I am very clear in my identity, so the first thing is to be again harnessing on this, working hard on it. What is my real identity? Then patience, uh, and continuing with enthusiasm, patience, revealing. Questions could be 100, but the answers would come about from nectar of instruction in Bhagavad Gita, nowhere else. Questions could be 100. So having some patience in myself, seeing myself grow. Okay, yes, I'm sure I can overcome this in 6 months time, in 9 months time. And how much we should be encouraging ourselves, how much distance have I covered in the practice of Krishna consciousness? That should give me a good boost to carry further. And a day will come when I will be more purified of it. And we are practicing Krishna consciousness not for mere purification. And we cannot progress without purification as well. Yeah. But we are not practicing for mere purification. Purification is very much required, but it is not the agenda. It is not the aim. Aim is direct darshan of Krishna. Aim is an engagement in the eternal realm, in the eternal pastimes of Krishna. That is the aim, to serve the divine couple. And in service, two things, or in service, seeing their beauty and seeing their joy. That is the aim. And for attaining that, purification is heavenly required. That is why we are after purification.